We're very thrilled to have Manav Garg, founder and CEO of Ekas Software with us today. Welcome Manav.
Thanks,
Very glad to have you here with us today talking to us. Manav, first I wanted to ask you, Eka has today become a successful enterprise software company. So now what next for Eka Software?
So what we did, if you look at the background of the company, we started a very niche space of commodities. So while that business is growing, and probably this year will be a bit soft because of market is down on the commodity side, what we did about 18 months back, we started R&D on the analytics platform that we just launched about 3 months back. So our next growth story is around the analytics business, where we're going to look at all the chain of supply chain to trading to risk, the entire gamut of things, and how people can get more value from their data and therefore decision support system.
So this will be taking you beyond commodity?
Yes, in a way, yes. From a traditional definition of commodities will be beyond commodities.
Right.
We also start looking into more supply chain areas.
And also SaaS for the first time, I guess.
Correct, SaaS
right.
for the first time, yeah.
Looking at a new product, right, and a new way of delivery, how did you have to change your way of thinking, as in the company itself, to bring that about?
Yeah, so that's a good question, because the DNA of so I think one of the things that helped us was that we have been a very, very progressive product company, and that's how we came from behind and established ourselves in commodities. So we continue to invest in R&D, so that is one DNA was there.
Right.
What we need to change is the way you sell the product, because while the traditional enterprise business is thought leadership, analytics is extremely thought and intellectual driven conversation with the client,
right.
because it's dealing with the top minds in the customer side. So that we are changing that. Then the sales models also have to be changed, because it's not a traditional 9 to 12 months implementation cycle in a long sales cycle. It's going to be much smaller sales cycle, smaller
right.
implementation cycle. So DNA of the sales team also have to change. And number 3, and very importantly, it's going to be very, very product and marketing driven theme. Marketing is going to play a very large role, and so does the product, because product has to speak for itself when you talk about analytics.
You've also spoken in the past about thinking about scale right from the beginning, right? Even as a young company. And if you could talk a little bit about that, on why and how entrepreneurs should think of scale right from the start, right from setting up the company.
Right. So I think if you're an entrepreneur who want to create a large company, which a lot of young entrepreneurs want to do these days, I think there are various elements of business to think about. So if you look at the product side, how do you start thinking about bringing performance in the product right from day one? You may not invest, but you have to start thinking about it so you can invest in the right time. And the most important thing is actually building the team. So I'll give you the classic examples or classic dilemma a company faces. Let's say you create a product, sold maybe 5 of them. Then there comes a point where you should hire a salesperson. Now, should you hire a sales manager or should you hire an individual sales guy?
Right.
Now, the expense between 2 of them probably is another 100 to 200K difference between 2. So then how do you track them? Should you do that or not? Similarly, you have scale on the technology side. Let's say you don't have a CTO. Should you hire VP of engineering or should you hire a CTO?
Right.
So I think those are the calls on the team side which makes a lot of difference. And second is investing ahead of curve on the product side. A lot of companies don't invest in the curve, product. When I say product, it is more about go to market on the product side. So I think those are things which are extremely important, so that when the scale arrives, then you are prepared with it.
And also, you've acquired companies in the past, so will we see, and that's also quite unique for an Indian enterprise software company, right? So will we see more such acquisitions from your side, and if yes, what kind of companies? You have focused on commodity
right,
so far, right?
So our focus is right now a lot about analytics growth. So we will look at companies in analytics maybe in 6 to 12 months time, not immediately.
But will you look at some of the Indian companies in this space,
yes,
or global?
Indian companies as well, if the companies are good. So we are agnostic to the geography, right? We have global offices in almost all the continents now, all major continents. So I don't think it's geography issue. The issue is that, we are not acquiring companies to build up revenue. So we are acquiring companies for 2 things. Either it's a complementary product set, which we don't have, and we think there's an adjacent market for it. Or we're looking to acquire, customer base, somebody who has a customer base who we can go and cross-sell our products.
Right.
So these are 2 parameters for us.
Right. And I also wanted to understand, enterprise space has not had as much focus as, say, e-commerce. So do you think, that's impacted the enterprise space? And, will we see, for instance, will Eka be the enterprise unicorn out of India? What do you think is going to happen?
Yes, I think, first of all, the time horizons for building enterprise companies are much longer as against e-commerce companies. So I think you look at 10 to 15 years or 20-year cycles. Number 2, I think a lot of companies will come out of India in B2B space and probably give better returns to the investor over longer horizon.
Thank you so much, Manav, for joining us.
Thanks, Radhika. Thank you.
Thank you, Carl, for joining us. Tell us about Code for India and Skill Up India programs.
The goal there is to bring together a community of techies, both in India and the Indian origin people worldwide.
Chumbak, which is present in Bengaluru, Mumbai, and Delhi, is galloping ahead.